Welcome everybody to our third episode of Nucks and Pucks. It's around T minus 2 hours here before the Leafs and Canucks game.
Game day, baby.
Yep. And lots of stuff been going around the NHL and the Vancouver Canucks as per usual. So why don't we get right into it? Let's start with those last three games against the Sabres, Blue Jackets, and Coyotes. Low scoring games for the most part, except for that Columbus game. But what do you guys think about how the way the team's been performing and maybe not as scoring as much in these last few?
I think if we start from like the recent game, Coyotes game, yeah, it was a low scoring game, 2-1. But one thing I feel like I kind of started noticing the past like two, 3 games, the whole road trip, like teams have started getting a lot more physical with the Canucks. Whether you see Arizona, like fights happening, but like Liam O'Brien, I think it is, getting a little physical there. Even the Sabres game, that was a real tough game. Columbus was a real tough game. I feel like teams are maybe that's part of their game strategies, sort of like being a little more physical with us and trying to get us off our game. But hey, we have guys ready. Zadorov was ready to pick up the fights there. Lafferty won't back down. We have those guys, even JT in that Columbus game when he was right. He was going at it. So that Columbus game got really no, not Columbus, Buffalo game got really out of hand. Actually, my bad.
Hmm.
That one got really out of hand after the JT hit on Darlene, but
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
they made a few runs at Quinn. But we had that whole like as a committee pushback rather than like teams that have one or two guys that just fight back. So hey, got a couple wins out of it, so not bad.
yeah, I think it's good, man. Like we kind of need that test. It's always good to be tested in different ways and then see how we can react. And these last few games, especially that Sabres game and that Coyotes game, really show that, this team can walk in and blow you up by 5, 6 goals, but they can also shut you down, right? And as a playoff team, like if you want to be a contender, you got to be able to do both. And I think they've shown that. In terms of guys like ready to step up in instances of like fights or other teams hunting our guys down, like that was pretty cool to see. Because to be honest, like last few years before the Rutherford and like Elvine era, there'd only like ever be like one or two guys that ever do it. I know like for the longest time, like Zach McEwen was like the only guy you'd ever have hope in. And even then, like sometimes he would do it, sometimes he wouldn't. And like knowing that we have like multiple dudes that can step up, it's nice. It's aggressive hockey, and that's the type of team you need if you want to make a deep run.
Yeah. So like it's really nice to see that teams will come into Vancouver or whenever they play Vancouver at home, they're thinking that they have to find ways to shut us down, right? Like they're always gonna bring 100% effort whenever they play us, as to like other seasons where probably they give like 70%, 60% because we weren't very good. It's nice now to see that like we're getting teams best effort every night and we're performing very well against that too, right? Teams will go in, they'll be like, oh, okay, we gotta be physical, maybe like try to get under the skin of the top guys.
Yeah, throw
And
some guys
it's
off their game.
yeah, it's nice to see how we're responding to that. It's been very good so far.
And I
Yeah,
think it was the Coyotes head coach,
yeah,
Andre Turgini or Turgini. Don't know how to pronounce his name, but yeah, he talked about how the Canucks like have been probably the toughest team that they've played, and like how we're fast, we're hard on pucks, and that we play with a good structure. And to be honest, getting compliments like that from around the league, I know we got one before from I think it was Braden Point. Um, we're putting the league on notice, so that says something about this team and the way that they've been playing throughout the course of the season.
yeah. I mean, it tells you the change in the team where teams aren't just coming into Vancouver coasting like expecting a win or something. It's like if they want to win, they have to really play the best hockey they've played this season to be able to win against us. And that's about the whole team just having that buy-in where every guy's playing for each other and there's a team atmosphere again. I feel like that's something we've talked about in the past like few years where yeah, we had a bunch of stars, individual stars, but it never felt like it meshed together into a team environment.
Yeah,
And now
Yeah.
Rutherford actually said that
yeah,
yesterday. We'll get more into that later, but he said that yesterday. It was really interesting.
yeah, it's like you see those guys that there's whether it's Garland scoring, Pettersson scoring, Joshua, Lafferty, Zadorov, Susi, whoever scores, it doesn't matter. Nobody's there for individual points, but every guy's there just to make sure that they get their job done and everybody knows their role. And that's a huge thing. It's like a guy like Myers is expected to score out there or something. He knows his role that, okay, he doesn't need to push up on offense too much, just be responsible in his own end. And hey, it's working out perfectly so far, I'd say.
Yeah, I kind of want to comment on the whole like, guys like doing their job, doing their role. Um, I think it was Garland talking about like how they were trying to name the line something. It was like some sort of like junior cheeseburger thing. I don't even know what it was, but yeah, he just talked about he's like we're a third line, right? We're a tough line to play against, and our job is to do XYZ. And yeah, we're going out there and doing that. And he's like, this type of stuff isn't important. It kind of just shows where guys like mentality's at, right? Another thing I kind of want to comment on along those lines was now since we're playing the Leafs today, right? Talking about player mentality. I know Mitch Marner or somebody questioned him about their last four games and how they lost, and he's like, "Oh no, we're playing great. There's no problems." Right? Kind of shows that you get used to that losing culture over the years versus where somebody asked Quinn, "Oh, what do you think about that 5-1-1 road trip?" And he's like, "We should have won all seven."
Yeah.
So I think it kind of shows that the culture is definitely there now, right?
Yeah.
And
And
that's what we were
even
always missing.
and even with like a guy like what was it, Devontae's a few weeks ago or
Mhm.
so, when he said, our guys need to step it up. They're not doing what they need to do. It's
Yeah, like
about being accountable.
he said a lot of guys think they're playing better than they actually
Yeah.
are, and
And
they're
I'd
not
Yeah,
say,
holding themselves accountable.
well, talking about the Leafs, I think that's the case of the Leafs. Yeah, you can see Matthews, he's scoring like whatever 30, like a crazy amount of goals, but it doesn't matter how many goals he has. He could have 100 goals if they don't make the playoffs. What's the use of it? There's no point.
100%. Yeah.
And it's about guys. If you look at even teams like say Vegas last year, if you look at their regular season stats, it's not like they had a crazy amount of stats. No guy
Mhm.
was like 120 points, 130 points, something like that crazy. They're all relatively in the lower end, and that's the thing. It's playing as a committee, as a team,
Yeah.
and now we're getting more of that. And I think it's getting the Canucks on the path to success.
I mean, yeah, I think this is like a pretty general conversation, but it's like hockey's like an 18-man team, right? Like you can't just give it to one guy and he can, just lead the team to success. I think Connor McDavid and like, Leon Draisaitl are like good examples of that, right? Arguably the two best players in the league, but on the same team doesn't mean you're gonna get automatic success, right? So top to bottom, it matters. Um, and now that we're on that topic, I kind of want to talk about like our second line and the rumors around like that top six trade and like that 2C especially. I think this team has a whole nother level to them, right? Like they're playing amazing as is, but that second line has just been neutral. They're not adding anything, they're not really taking away anything, but once they do start adding, where does this team go? Because I remember before the second line wasn't all too bad. This is back when JT and Brock were on that second line, but Petey wasn't producing as much. And now Petey's producing, but that second line is kind of regressed. What does this team look like when Petey is on his game and that second line is producing? Do they take it to a whole nother level? I think so.
I mean, it depends. I think we've talked about it. Like, there's two ways they can sort of go about it. Either they add a scoring wing or center, or they go a little more defensive, like center type of situation. Either way, I
Two
have
way.
no issue with it. I think either way can work.
Yeah,
But like talking about Petey, he's leading the league in goals in January. He's 11 goals, and it's what
insane.
January 20th right now.
Yeah, that's insane.
Low amount of games, but even the second line, they had 0 goals on the whole road trip. Like
Yeah.
it's been bad. It's the only spot where you can actually look at the Canucks and be like, okay, there's a hole here where they can fix this. And it does scare me a little because when we get into the playoffs, if a team like let's just say Vegas or Winnipeg or somebody's playing against the Canucks, they'll just stack up one of their lines with their best defensive forwards to put up against the Lotto line. And as long as they
Yeah.
can shut down the Lotto line, they'll feel good about themselves that we can probably win the game.
Oh yeah.
And if the Canucks have all their chips on one line and the other lines, like, yeah, the Garland line's there, but you need that second line to be a threat. The fourth line's more for energy. That's how the like Talkets try to use them. Energy and sort of just like pressure. But
Mhm.
you need that second line to start scoring. Otherwise, in the playoffs, if they keep the Lotto line, I don't see. I feel like teams are gonna work around it, and the Canucks are gonna have to split it up.
Speaking of the second line, like just yesterday, I think it was, or maybe the other day, Quinn referred to the Garland line as the second line, right? Then that's like
That's something.
that's
That's
something.
something. Yeah.
Like, yeah, that line's been playing pretty good, but they're not a second line, right? They're a
No.
good third line, but they're not a second line. And then you
Yeah.
got Kuzmenko with 0 points in 9 games. You got I think Mikheyev has like, I don't know what it is, but it's like it's either 0 to 2 points in his last
It's
9 games.
not enough for a guy that's getting the amount
Not
of money
enough at
he's
all.
getting. Yeah.
They're getting too much money. Like Kuzmenko's getting 5.5,
I,
and Mikheyev's getting what, 3.5?
I think around 4.3 or 4.4 ish. But
Yeah, like
the
either
thing,
way,
the
that's
thing
too
with
much money.
the thing with Mikheyev, I don't think it's too much money because you have to keep in mind he is one of our main penalty killers. He
Mhm.
has that role done quite well, and
Mikheyev's a
our
good
our
he's a
penalty
good
kill's
third
been really
liner
good.
though.
I'd
He
say
would be.
he's a fringe second liner. I think he works as a second liner. I don't think he's part of the issue, but he's not the line driver, and that's the issue. With Petey, he had no issue.
There
With
is no
Petey,
Yeah.
line
with Petey,
driver on that line.
yeah,
There
and
isn't.
that's why the second line, you can't expect a guy like Mikheyev to be leading that line. Kuzmenko last year, you kind of expected like he wasn't a play driver, but you expected him to score. That we all know how it's going. So and Pia Suter, like he's a good bottom six guy, but he's not really a second line center. So you need one of those three guys, or like whoever's in that position, to be a play driver to get some offense going in there.
Yeah, it just looks like Kuzmenko, the way he's playing right now. Like, look, he had that turnover against Arizona, got benched. He played one shift after that, right? And like that's also has an impact on the guy's confidence. Like every time he goes out there, he's scared to make a mistake. You can't play hockey scared, obviously, right? So like, I don't know how they can fix it because they've tried everything, right? They've tried showing him film, like talking with him one on one, but nothing's worked. So seems like time's running out for the guy.
I
And
think
it's yeah.
yeah, I think it's just like he's not a bad player. Like I think Rutherford mentioned this too. Like he's a good player. He's just lost his confidence and he will definitely get back to scoring, whether that's in Vancouver or not. Um, I think with Talkett's very strict about the way he wants his guys to play. And the gaps in Kuzmenko's game prevent him from playing that style. I think in a team that might be a little bit more lenient on the defensive end, he'd be a perfect fit, right? No way do I think like he's never going to get back to that form, but I do think it's not going to be in Vancouver. I think he does get moved for sure. Before it was kind of like a question mark. I think at this point it's almost like it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when is it going to happen.
Yeah, and I don't blame it on coaching either. Like with the Canucks coaching staff, we all know how much they've changed now, and you've had multiple players, whether that's Quinn or just a ton of players coming out and saying that, they feel really supported. The coaches know how to get to them and talk to
Mhm.
them. And at some point, you can't really keep playing Kuzmenko if he keeps making mistakes like that. You have to win games at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And as much as it is, I loved watching Kuzmenko last year, but with this year, the benching, I support it. Like you have to win games at the end of the day. You can't really just keep playing the guy, hoping that he regains his confidence, but in turn, he turns the pucks over a bunch of times and the Canucks keep getting scored on or something. You
Yeah, he
can't,
was on the ice. He was on the ice for the Coyotes' only goal.
yeah.
So
Yeah, and he played like 6, 7 minutes in a game where we had 3 to 4 power plays, right? So, but plain and simple, hockey's a business. We have a goal at the end of the day, and the goal is to win a Stanley Cup. Sometimes guys, you'll like them, but you got to move on from them. And like a good example could be like Bo Horvat, right? He was a fan favorite for a long time, drafted by the team, right? At one point, a heart and soul guy. But you got to move on, and look what it did, right? We're in a much better position now, and a guy like Kuzmenko, I feel like maybe not to the same extent, but similar situation. Like we love him, right? But if you're not helping us win, I'm sorry, right? We're gonna go get somebody that helps.
It's going off to the side. I feel like that's a big issue with us, like Canucks fans. I feel
Mhm.
like we get so fixated on some players where it's like, They could be a
Yeah, we
fringe
get
NHLer. Like
so
I was
like
thinking one day, like think about you Levy. There's a whole thing like, no, we can't get rid of him. He's gonna
Mhm.
become that top 4 D man. Rathbone is like, no, we can't get rid of him. He's gonna become that top 4 D man. Or just like even in the past, like Hunter Carrick or just a
Yeah.
bunch of names out there which were quite honestly fringe NHLers, but just everybody was so fixated on them. And sometimes I feel like this management's done well where they don't wait until the player is low. Like obviously Kuzmenko now he is low, but with other guys like you mentioned, Bo, they got rid of him when he was probably at his highest trade value ever on like a 30 goal pace or whatever he was. And I feel like now at this point with Kuzmenko, you can't wait until he gets back up because you're making a run right now. You're one of the best teams in NHL. You have to make that move now.
but
You can't wait.
at the same time, like if he has no value right now, what do you like? You don't want to attach something just to get rid of him. I
I
mean,
don't
I mean, I'm gonna take that back. It's $5.5 million. If it's like if you have to give up like a third or a fourth along with Kuzmenko, then I'd do it. But anything more than that, I wouldn't do it.
I don't think we'd have to attach. I don't know. I feel like there's teams out there that might be willing to bet on him.
Mhm.
Where take for example a team like maybe obviously we already done a trade with them, but Chicago, they might be like, you know what? We have a more lenient system with Bedard. Obviously, they're not expecting to be a good team. They
Mm.
can let Kuzmenko play freely. If he gets to like 40 goals again, the league starts going, oh, look, he's a 2-time 40 goal scorer ish. And they move him off for something else. And those sort of teams, I think, would be willing to bet on him
Yeah.
to like bounce back.
And what does it hurt Chicago to put a friggin' to put a former 40 goal scorer on Bedard's wing,
Yeah.
right?
They need to
So
give him some talent because we've seen how much even
Now,
like Jason
he can be a
Dickinson.
compliment. He can be a
yeah,
very good compliment to a guy like Bedard, which honestly he should be a good compliment to a guy like Petey too. But like I don't know
I
what's
feel
going on.
I don't I disagree with that. I think with the Canuck structure and Chicago structure, Chicago can be free. You don't see much like players are just playing how they want to play, kind of.
Yeah, they
What
have
they
no expectations.
Yeah, with the Canucks, there's expectations in place. Every guy
mhm,
is expected. You're not just a one way forward. You have to play both way ends. You have to be responsible in your end first, and then you get to play offense. So that's where I see Kuzmenko, I guess, kind of doesn't fit the bill.
yeah.
Definitely.
Um, I know last episode we talked about some potential candidates for that top six, and we were mostly talking about down the middle, that 2C, and I know Erickson X name came up. What do you guys think is the likelihood of that happening now with Jared Spurgeon being out and the Wild's chances just becoming thinner and thinner of making the playoffs?
Well, they won yesterday, right? So I feel like they're just hanging on by a thread, especially what their GM said that we still believe that we can make it. And I feel like if we're ever gonna get Eriksson Ek, it'll be right at the deadline when they have a definitive answer whether or not they're gonna make it or not.
Hmm.
As much as it is, I personally don't see him getting moved. I like to dream about it, but
No, yeah, I don't think we're gonna get him,
I
but I'm
don't
saying
think
if
yeah.
we were to get him, it would be then.
You'd have to
Because
throw a lot at them to
yeah,
get
it
that.
need to be like maybe multiple first, possibly, just because of how good that contract is. And with the cap
Mhm.
going up, that contract's just getting better and better.
Yeah, it's either multiple firsts or you're throwing in Lekkerimaki or Willander,
Yeah.
which I don't think this team wants to do.
Would you guys do that? Which one of Lekkerimaki or Willander would you be more willing to trade?
Willander,
Lekkerimaki.
I do Lekkerimaki. I feel
you
like
throw.
We have no defensive prospects.
right-handed defenseman, you get a top or right-handed defenseman, that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
no,
crazy
you
value.
cannot trade him. No chance.
I
Look at
like
how hard it
Woes.
was to get like Hronik or
Hmm.
Mhm.
even a guy like say Rasmus Anderson. Like if he were to get traded right now, he's going for a haul.
Mhm.
Compared to Lekkerimaki, he's a winger. Yeah, he's good, but
Oh yeah,
wingers have the lowest value out of everybody.
it's also the Battle of Alberta today, man. That's gonna be a big game, like for the Flames, I
Edmonton's
think.
gonna win. Hey,
Yeah,
my
but like
prediction
for the
last
Flames,
week, they're
for
climbing the ladder.
Yeah, they're
Right?
playing when you're playing sub 500 teams. Obviously, you're going to climb the ladder.
Still
yeah,
climbing the
man.
ladder.
Hey,
One hundred
you
Are you
know,
a
even on
secret? Are you a secret Edmonton fan?
No, no,
Bro,
no.
even on this
Underneath that
12
Canucks hat, he has a Edmonton Toque or something.
even on this 12, 13 game win streak, they've only gained 3 points on the Canucks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, because we keep winning too, right? We're
Yeah,
not
we keep
giving
winning.
them up much ground.
Everybody keeps wondering when are we gonna have our losing streak. We haven't had it yet. Knock on wood, but like it's great. It's
If
nice to see.
anything, post trade deadline maybe. Like we,
Those are
we
gonna be some fun games post trade deadline with LA, Vegas, I think comes there too.
we got Vegas 3 times, LA
Yeah.
3 times, Colorado 3 times,
Yeah.
and Winnipeg three. Yeah, we got those four 3 times
It's
each.
gonna be
So
a challenge.
We have a
oh yeah.
tough road trip after I think it's our All-Star break thingy.
Hmm.
It's Carolina, I think yeah, Carolina's there, Boston. I want to say Colorado somewhere there too, or something. I don't know.
Hmm.
It's around that range. That's gonna be a good little test again. I think
Boston
we
should be fun.
Yeah. I feel like we keep saying like there's Canucks that are gonna get tested, are gonna get tested, but they just keep proving the whole
Well, I
league
mean,
wrong.
technically they are getting tested. They just keep passing it.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what my biggest fear is, man? Like we make it out of the regular season as like one of the top teams, and then we just get dunked in the first round.
I mean,
Like,
that's why I'm saying let's chill out on the points, guys. Like we don't need to win the President's Trophy. We've seen how that's
We
kind
do
of
not
worked
need
out.
to win that.
man, I'm gonna lose my $50, but yeah, I'd rather take that.
Wait, you bet on that?
Yeah,
Yeah, me and Bodge had a little friendly bet going on.
he said the Canucks
Nice.
are, yeah, I was like, come on, I don't want them to
But
win
that
the
means we don't win the
President's Trophy.
cup. So I don't know. I'd rather lose the $50 over a cup.
$50 for a cup. Come on, give it to Batman. Maybe he'll give you the cup.
But yeah, so we were talking about Eriksson Ek, Spurgeon. Yeah, other guys, Lindholm, Monahan, Granlund. Like I know Lindholm's like a name that's been coming up recently. He has 28 points in 43 games. And then there's Monahan who has 24 in 42. So their 82 game pace is not too far off. And a guy like Monahan will probably come at a much cheaper price than Lindholm. If you had to choose in between one, wouldn't Monahan make the most sense?
I think, yeah, he's cheaper in the sense of money, but I feel like he's gonna go for a first or something because his contract is so
Yeah, but
cheap. His
even
contract's
if
like
I'll let
his
you go.
contract's like 1.5 million or 2 million.
What's the term? Do you know?
Just this year, Montreal
Oh,
can
okay.
easily just retain half of it. That means any contender's in on him. A guy for $1 million, every team's in on him. That's what's gonna make the bidding price go up. Whereas Lindholm, not a lot of teams can really get in on that just because of that contract. It's I think like around 4.5-ish million,
Hmm.
and it makes it that harder for teams to make trades because as we've seen, other than Alvin, nobody can figure out how to make salary cap trades.
GM of the year, I think.
Hey,
Yeah, what about a guy like Mikhail Granlund though?
Yeah, he has 29 and 36. But I
he's
don't
not,
I don't know too much about his two-way game.
he also plays on San Jose.
That's true,
Yeah,
yeah.
which I feel like makes it even more impressive.
I
He
don't
has
think
nobody
so.
with him.
That's what we're talking about. It's the Kuzmenko situation. If Kuzmenko goes to Chicago, he's gonna score more. If he goes to San Jose, he's gonna score more.
Because you're one of the
Because
top guys. You get
he's playing
the
freely. He has no
yeah.
real responsibility. He's just playing how he wants to play.
Yeah,
But
I
a
guess.
guy that I feel
But a
like
lot of those points from Granlund and Monahan and Lindholm, like I feel like 80% of those are assists. I
But
don't know which one. I don't know how many are primary, how many are secondary, but still.
Granlund's carrying a cap at of 5 million though.
yeah, that's
So that's pretty like it's pretty much the same as Lindholm. Almost I think.
I'd
Um
expect any of those trades we make, Kuzmenko's involved in it.
It
Just as
has
a
to be.
100% or
It's
else
a
the money doesn't
salary
work.
dump
Yeah.
at that point.
but another guy that I find interesting his name, Vetrano. There's
Mm.
been
Yeah, he's been very
think
good.
think what's
Very
it
good.
called? Dollywall was talking about it, how the Canucks had interest in him a couple of years ago when he got
Hmm.
signed. And hey, he has 21 goals in 44 games. That'd be a nice little piece to add for us. We need some goal scoring on the second line. He's not a center, but even as a winger, hey, I'll take it. If he can
No, even if we
possibly
get a
reach,
good winger, like that still
yeah.
makes a big
And,
difference.
he's cheap too. I think he's like around 3.8-ish million. So
Mm.
we can make that work quite not too bad. And I can see the Canucks having interest in him. And a
Yeah.
guy, even on the same team, Anaheim, Henrique.
Hmm.
Henrique's the guy that is involved in trade talks. He's putting up quite some good numbers this year, and they're both Henrique's a UFA at the end of the year. I think Vetrano has another year left next year, so I'd lean towards Vetrano, but then Henrique is a center.
Hmm.
Or hey,
But then Vetrano obviously will cost more.
yeah, but hey, if there's a possibility, once you get both, 2/3 of that second line,
Yeah, that would well, what would a trade like that look like?
Vetrano, Henrique, oh,
Well,
the
you'd
cap
have
wouldn't even
to.
work. We'd have to,
Kuzmenko needs to go. Probably
and we'd still
somebody.
have like around 3 million to go.
3 million.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't know about that one.
I don't see how that would work. But you know what? That's why they're like that's why management is management. They got to
That's why we
figure it
trust
out.
Alvin, let him cook.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think they'll
Well,
figure it out. I have full faith in management.
moving on to management, looks like Francesco has full faith in management too. Rutherford gets a 3-year extension,
Yeah,
and
saw that.
there's talks of how they're expecting Alvin's extension to be done in the next week or so. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
kind of like it. I feel like it's a good thing to do before the
Yeah.
trade deadline, just because then you know these guys know that hey, we're around long term. We I guess some GMs would make some short-sighted moves where it's like, let's make sure we have a good year this year so that we get the
Jim.
extension. But now they have that confidence. I think everybody has changed their opinion on management from last year. We couldn't
Yeah,
see it, but they saw it.
yeah.
Yeah, Rutherford said that in his interview or his press conference yesterday. He's like, a lot of tough decisions had to be made, especially with Bruce, but like we wanted to give the next head coach a enough time to implement his system, which paid off so much this year,
I
I
mean,
think.
you look at that whole coaching staff. There's Talkit, there's Adam Foote, Sergey Gonchar, Mike Yeo, the Sedins, Ian Clark. That's an all-star coaching staff.
It's probably the best in the league, to be honest.
It has to be up there. I mean,
Mm.
I'd say Talkit, Tortorella, those two guys have to be the top two guys for the Jack Adams Trophy.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of experience behind
Talkett
the
has
Canucks
another
bench.
year left, right? So his extension will be a little bit down the road,
Yeah.
but I feel like his extension will be really important in terms of getting free agents and stuff to come here.
Mhm.
Another low key, I think, piece that people forget about, I feel like Jeremy Colliton. Like that's
Mm,
really important. I'd I'd expect a lot of teams in the offseason to be interested in him
Oh
to
yeah,
become
he deserves it so much. I
yeah.
had the chance to like well, I didn't really get to say much to him, but I was down in Abbotsford for like an assignment and I got to like see his whole pregame stuff and like I got to watch his post-game interview and he said hi to me. That was pretty cool. And then he just seems like a nice guy. He's doing very well in Abbotsford, so
Yeah, I
he
mean,
definitely deserves if it's not like if it's not a head coaching job somewhere in the NHL, he's definitely gonna get an assistant job somewhere.
I think I'd see a young team sort of going after him to be their head coach, which kind of scares me given how well he's worked in Abbotsford, how well the whole Abbotsford system's been. He's making tough decisions there too, like guys like Klimovic when they don't play well, it's not like you're getting ice time handed to you. You have to earn it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And that's sort of the whole thing around the whole organization. Even talk it. It's no matter how good you are, you could be Pettersson Miller or you could be a fourth liner like Niels Alman. It doesn't matter. You have to earn your ice time. And if
Mm-hmm.
you play well, you'll get ice time. It's simple as that.
Championship culture.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
But
But
I like the way he's handled like Klimovich, Baines, all those guys down there. Like at the start, they barely got any ice time and they're just building slowly, slowly, slowly. Now they're thriving. It's awesome.
do you guys think Baines could get a call up this year?
I think so.
I don't see
I
Pods.
don't see it happening. I obviously he deserves it, but like just keep the young guys down there, let them go deep in the playoffs. So it's
I see
fine.
Pods staying down there definitely. I don't think there should be any rush to bring him up either. But Baines,
Yeah.
I feel like, hey, knock on wood, we haven't had too many injury issues on our forward group, but if there were, I think the sort of scoring touch of Baines could come in handy there. I mean, he's an AHL All-Star. He's playing really well. He had that really nice move that he did, like spin around and going against the whole team there and
Yeah,
have a
just to
squirt.
get into the zone. That was
Yeah,
sick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
that was really nice.
I don't know. I feel like yeah, by next year, I think he should definitely have a really good chance to make the team. But hey, there could be a chance this year,
Yeah,
maybe.
next year there's gonna be a lot of openings, right? A lot of
Yeah,
guys are on expiring contracts right now, so you're gonna have to have at least two guys that are ready to come up.
but
When we were talking about coaching and we were talking about Talkit and like how him and Tortorella might be the top two guys. Personally, I do think Talkit's gonna win it. I think he's gonna be coach of the year. It's just how it is. But he's going to the All-Star game and
yeah,
so are five other Canucks. First time in franchise history we've had five or more Canucks go to the All-Star game. So it's a pretty big accomplishment for the organization. Um, I haven't really paid attention to the All-Star game since I was a kid, to be
I haven't
honest.
paid attention since I was like 10.
Yeah, this is like back when like Ovi used to like put on like a cape and like,
yeah.
Yeah.
days, right? Or like Patty Kane with his little like nerd glasses. But yeah, I'm gonna be tuning in for sure this time because we got a bunch of guys in there. But what do you guys think? What are your thoughts on five All-Stars or six if you include Talkit going from the Canucks?
Hey, seven if you include Al Murdoch, the PA
Oh
announcer.
yeah, I
Hey,
forgot about
that
that.
that counts too, yeah.
Yeah, so we have seven All-Stars, but
He's a legend. He's a
he's
real
in
legend.
love the way he does that. Like, he used to do the Bo Horvat thing.
Hmm
That's the
Like,
one thing I miss.
yeah.
Oh, Horvat. That was pretty.
That was pretty bad.
We'll leave it to Al. We'll leave it to Al. But yeah, I mean, it's awesome seeing. Obviously, it's a fantasy all-star draft this year too. I don't know if you guys remember that, but there's a
Oh
Yeah.
fantasy
yeah,
draft. So I
yeah.
completely forgot about that, but I only remembered because Coin and Michael Bublé are going to be co-captains.
Yeah, yeah.
So there was talks of like,
I thought
hey,
that was a joke at first.
yeah, they're like,
I'm
hey,
like, yo, Michael Bublé, what?
Quinn has to draft Pettersson first, otherwise there's gonna be issues there. But
hmm
hey, I mean, it's awesome to see. I love it. We have all stars in
The
there.
yeah, the last one I remember was what when Phil Kessel got taken last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
There's like one or two after that. I don't know why they stopped it. I think it was a good. It sort of gets the NHL back. I feel like this All-Star game they've done really well. The whole system sort of going back to making it a more. I feel like last year they kind of had ideas where it just didn't make sense.
No, it didn't make sense.
Like that
You know,
shooting
people
tank
like the
thingy,
guys were
playing
shooting
hockey.
pucks. They're shooting
Yeah,
pucks from the beach.
yeah.
Like
It's.
what's going on here, man?
I think everybody was just done with it. Even the year before, where they were at the Bellagio at Vegas,
hmm
and they were on like the water, is like, yeah, nobody really cares about that. Like, you look at leagues like the NBA. What's the biggest like all-star skills competition there? The dunk contest.
hmm
hmm
It's about the game. Everybody loves it. And then this year, I like how they did that 12-player thing where there's 12 players that are participating in the all-star skills competition, and they pick what is I think four of the like mainstays of the competitions, and then based on that they get points. Whoever wins gets $1 million. So
hmm
there's some money on the line. There's the top players are going to be performing, and apparently Connor McDavid had a huge hand in this of being like, okay, let's get back to hockey. So I mean,
It's
hey,
good. It'll be good for the game to have a fun All-Star game for once.
yeah,
But
especially I feel like the
what about the actual All-Star game? I didn't see any changes to that though.
I think I don't know, is it 5-on-5 now?
I think it's 3-on-3.
3-on-3 still? Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't know if this is unpopular
More
opinion
of
or
like
not,
it's
but
more of like a pickup hockey game.
Yeah.
I've never liked the All-Star games.
I don't like the All-Star game. I like the
Bro, even in the
skills
NBA, I
competition.
never
Competition, yeah.
even in the NBA, I don't watch the actual game. I just watch the skills.
Well, yeah, because it's literally just dudes walking up and down, right?
hmm
Just like no
There's
one's
no fun in
trying.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no fun, right? When people compete, it's
Like skills competition.
Yeah, bring
Guys
back
are
the
going to be going
80s.
for that $1 million. Hey, like
Yeah.
they're getting a break in Toronto. Might as well get $1 million while you're at it. And
I
then,
will tune into the game if somehow all Canucks end up on the same team, but I don't think that's happening.
If they're
yeah,
doing that like semis and the final, oh shit. If they're doing the semis and the finals thing, then if they make the like if a Canuck makes the finals, then I'll watch it.
I might have it on as background noise, sort of thing. Just leave it
Speaking
on
of
in the
background
background.
noise, I have the Ravens and Texans game on right now. There was
How
just a
about them
punt.
Cowboys?
There was just a punt
How about
return
them
for a touchdown.
Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys, Gers?
Okay, we don't need to talk about that.
Yeah, so honestly, what I'd say is the Cowboys suck.
I agree.
There's no other way to put it. Go Green Bay.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm
Pack
actually rooting for
squad.
Green Bay.
Oh, look at him trying to act like he cares for other
No,
teams.
I just don't like the Niners. I want the Niners to lose.
No, I want the Niners to win.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Dallas.
Okay.
Dallas.
All right, back to hockey.
Back to hockey. Talking about our all-stars, there's one all-star that's been being talked about a lot, and there's a lot of conversation around him, Elias Pettersson, and specifically his contract situation. There's a lot of noise on Twitter. Some
So
comments from
much.
management as well. Um, I know what I think about it, right? I think it's very unnecessary. I think let the guy be.
Yeah.
He's made it known that he doesn't want to talk about it till the end of the season. I don't know what Canucks fans find so hard to comprehend about that. Stop speculating for absolutely no reason, right? Stop like getting all, insecure about the fact that he might leave, right? Just let it be. He's trying to win right now. But you know how the Canucks fan base is. We don't like to listen. So, what's your guys' take on that? I know Elvine and Rutherford both kind of also pitched their ideas on this, so be
I
interested to
mean,
hear what you guys think.
I mean, literally what you said, just let the guy be, man. Come on. Like,
hmm
if he said he's not negotiating in the year, what else do you need to know about it? He doesn't want to negotiate in the year. And I mean, for obvious reasons. You see, it becomes a whole huge distraction. Whether it was with Nylander, yeah, he signed his contract, but ever since then, it's been like, oh, look, Nylander before and after his contract. It just creates unnecessary noise. And what guy wants that noise when he has a legitimate chance to, possibly make a deep playoff run this year? And
hmm
I would much rather have Pettersson focus on his game, the team, and winning rather than focusing on his contract right now. Either way, he's not walking at the end of the year.
Yeah,
Either there's two ways it goes. He either signs or he gets traded. If he
you
gets
get a
traded, we get
huge
a
package.
huge deal, huge trade package. If he signs, we have our cornerstone number one center, like our best player signed long term, or whatever the term is.
And I kind of want to bring up a very outlier situation, right? Obviously there's so many things that still go into. We talked about one of them, like the second line and stuff. But if Vancouver does win the Stanley Cup this year, right? And you're Elias Pettersson, why wouldn't you want the organization to throw all the money at you, right? You could probably earn a little bit more than what you're getting right now.
Oh,
And
I have an
hey,
interesting question about
hey,
that. Just keep going.
there was I saw this stat today. There hasn't been a single player in the last decade that signed a contract after having two back-to-back 100-point seasons.
hmm
And
Mm,
Pettersson has the potential to be the first one. Obviously, he'd wait until he has that 100-point secured, and then be like, here's my argument. Like, I have back-to-back 100-point seasons. Pay
hmm
me the money.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
think,
so okay, you go
yeah,
first.
no,
Go
go
first.
for it. Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna ask a question.
Yeah.
It's say we win the cup this year. What do you think Petey gets versus if we don't win the cup this year? So how much do you think the price goes up if we win it, and
Okay.
he gets 100 points?
If we don't win, I think anywhere in between 11.75 to 12.5, it's pretty reasonable. I think he might actually get upwards of 12. If we win, I don't care. Throw the whole
Yeah,
thing
if
at
we win,
him.
it's a blank check.
Uh,
That's what
I
Rick Dollywall said on their show yesterday. He's like, if they win, it's a blank check for
I
him.
think right now too. I think there's a blank check there. Just with even Rutherford's comments, and then Francesco made the whole thing of coming in like, hey, we want PD signed.
Nah, that guy
Obviously, you
was
want to
basically
sign.
begging yesterday.
Yeah, but I mean, those guys kind of need to chill a little bit there. Where it's like, hey,
Yeah,
the
like you gotta
guy
stop talking about it so much, man.
you talk about it so much it becomes a distraction, and that's what it's
hmm
sort of become. And
That's also
but there's
another thing
also some other people on Twitter that we keep talking about that you know
that just say stupid stuff.
yeah, who make it their whole point to just be like, yeah, Pettersson's not going to sign, Pettersson this, Pettersson that. Like,
it's their
maybe just
whole
be
Just like, oh,
happy.
we made him unhappy. Like, well, what are
Yeah.
you talking about, bro? Like, seriously.
Yeah, no.
I don't think
But
Pettersson
like,
sits on Twitter all day and looks at some people's tweets.
Yeah, I'm
no,
debating blocking that guy.
Yeah.
It's trying to get on my nerves.
He always quotes everything that comes out of all these talk shows. That's the only reason I follow him. So
It'll be a shout out to whoever knows who we're talking about.
Yeah, drop
I'm
it down in the comments on
Drop
who
it
we're
yeah, if
down.
you
Who
talking
you
know who
about.
think
we're
we're
talking
talking about?
about.
It should be very obvious. This guy is very annoying.
Watch us end up on Twitter now.
Yeah,
He's gonna be like, and then he quotes like one of us, like, "This guy's very annoying."
failed podcast.
Ah, well, it is what it is. He's so annoying, man.
I
So
feel like that we talk too much about this guy. Stop. We
Yeah,
gotta stop giving him
that's.
his
we
spotlight.
bring him up at like once an episode.
But I
Because that's
mean,
all I see on my feed, man. Like I'm trying to like look at some Canuck stuff, and all I see is this guy crying or
Because
complaining about how Petey doesn't want to sign.
everybody's either liking his stuff or retweeting it or commenting on it.
Yeah,
Like he always shows up somehow unless you block him.
yeah,
yeah. But Petey, yeah. I think in terms of money, yeah. Like we were talking about like the whole blank check thing. Um, correct me if you're wrong. You were saying like management shouldn't be really putting that out there. Is that what you were kind of saying, Budge?
no. I was saying I think it's already out there.
Oh,
No,
okay.
it's pretty much out
Uh,
there. But the price goes up if
uh,
he wins.
what I was gonna say was like I don't think PD's like a super greedy guy, right? Like, but at the same time, like you've gotten to this point in your career, like this is something you've earned from a
Yeah.
young age. You deserve what you earned, right? So he's not gonna be like, oh, like I'll take a $10 million contract. Like that's not happening, right? But at the same time, you don't want to like. I feel like the blank check thing, like I don't think he's gonna take advantage of it, but sometimes guys will, right? Because I think he wants to win, so he's always gonna take that into consideration too. Like, oh, I don't want to be that guy that takes 14 million and then kind of screws the team over.
I think
But
Mhm.
legacy matters a lot for him, and that's
yeah,
what sort of people I guess couldn't understand with that Chicago rumor of him going there.
hmm
The whole thing was him and Nylander are gonna team up in Chicago with Bedard.
Mhm.
That's the least likeliest thing. Obviously, we know now because
Like
Nylander
he doesn't want to
resigned,
be a
but
glory hunter like
he doesn't.
Kevin Durant.
If he goes there, it's Bedard's team.
yeah,
No matter what, it's Bedard's team, and then Nylander and Pettersson are the two leeches that sort of just came onto the team to go with Bedard. And I don't know if you guys seen, Petey talked about it, how the FIFA World Cup, he's
hmm
like seeing Messi win made him cry because he cares about those legacy moments, and he's like, it was a really
Made me
emotional
cry too.
moment for me.
I cried as well.
he
Yeah, you
wins.
also cried. You also cried when the Dallas Cowboys got kicked out of the playoffs.
Yeah,
So
but
let's leave it at that.
those were both very different crying
Go Packers.
emotions. Emotions.
Anyways, but legacy matters for him. And if you look at it, even there's been things of like Swedish players in Vancouver,
hmm
Sedin's. It took Gillis. He had to fly to Sweden and sign them a day before the free agency period.
Yeah,
And even with what's his name, Naslund, he signed in like August.
Mhm.
So I feel like everybody needs to pump the brakes a little bit,
There's so
calm
much
down,
time.
watch some Canucks hockey, and worry about the contract situation later.
yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
and like Rutherford already said yesterday, he's like, whatever Petey decides, whether if he wants to sign in the offseason or now, it's not going to impact anything that they do this year in terms of trades and stuff, which is I think it's a good thing, right? You have a window. You don't want to worry about what your star player might or might not do. You're trying to capitalize on the moment right now, right? So that's also a good thing. But one more thing I want to say about it is management, like Alvin and Rutherford, have talked about it a little too much, right?
hmm
And like if Petey and his camp, actually, I don't know if his camp said it or I don't even know who said it, but it seems like he wants to sign in the offseason. You just don't say anything publicly. You know what I mean? Like, don't let it get out there to the media, and then the media starts yapping a bunch of stuff. And then that can get on a player's nerves, right? Especially in this market, people will blow everything out of proportion. So they just need to let it go for a little bit. It's getting a little too much talk right now.
Hey, Petey's agent, if you have any news you need to sort of leak out, you can always reach out to us and we'll leak it out. Don't worry about that.
Nucks and pucks underscore on Instagram, in case you're
Yeah.
wondering.
You can just send us a little message saying, "Hey guys, start this rumor," and we'll be right there. But I mean, hey, his agent did talk about how once Pettersson comes back to Vancouver, like after that road trip, that they were going to meet up and they were going to talk about it. So I think yeah, he's just wait a
I
little
feel like,
bit.
yeah.
There's a possibility, I'd say maybe a small chance that he might sign like in the season, but I think most likely, yeah, just wait till the off season.
He just doesn't want anybody to know what he's about to do.
Yeah.
He wants it to be a surprise, which
I,
I don't mind.
I think it's also best for team success too. Like the whole distraction thing, like I think that's a major thing.
But the
Like,
contract can also, like, all this noise is also a distraction, right?
Yeah.
but that's a distraction we're deciding to create on our own.
I feel like that's more so Canuck fan syndrome where when everything's going
Yeah.
right, you have to find something that's wrong just to be like, hey, this is
Exactly.
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where I think this came from. I think this whole PD contract situation really picked up after our 3 wins in New York.
Hmm.
After those wins, it was like, okay, things are going a little too well. Let's bring it down. PD contract, he's not
Well,
signed.
well, it's because yeah, he had those like 4 game-winning goals too, right? And
Yeah.
it's like now all of a sudden we're like, oh wow, we have this guy, and it's like, oh no, we might lose this guy. It's like, calm down. It's not. It's really not that big of a problem.
Look, man, if anybody who's worried, if we lose him, which God, I hope obviously we don't, we're
I don't
still
think we
gonna
do.
get such a huge return back
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
like it's gonna be fine. It'll be fine at the end of the day.
Put it like this, right? Like worst case situation, you're handing this current management numerous first round picks and a bunch of
Yeah,
elite
like
talent.
the timeline will get pushed down a little bit, obviously,
Yeah.
but it just sets up our future even
Hey, you
more.
get a Gabe, what's Pierre-Luc Dubois type of trade. I'll take it. You
Oh
Or
yeah.
never
that,
know.
or that would
Sets you
be
up.
insane.
Couple of young guys, but I think we don't need to get too deep
Yeah,
into
it's
the
too much
trade talks. I think
speculation.
it's
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't think it's really I don't think it's worthwhile. Where just everybody chill out, just watch Pettersson, be happy he's a Canuck. Watch Hughes, be happy he's a Canuck. Watch Demko, be happy with him. JT, Brock, all those guys.
Learn how to
And
appreciate what you have.
let's not forget that we used to have days where Jason Magna was one of our top 6 forwards. Michael Chaput,
I still
Brandon
miss
McMillan, just
I still miss Goldie.
as much as those
Oh
guys,
yeah.
they were legends. They're still legends in our
Shout out
hearts.
Jack
But
Skilly.
Jack Skilly,
Jack Skilly. Oh my
oh,
God, I remember that guy.
wasn't he with the Sedines one time? Like he was,
I
Yeah, yeah.
swear he
He
was.
had
Yeah.
like a 3 week period where he was going
yeah.
off with those guys.
I mean, Tom Sestito had a period where he was with the Sedines too.
Hmm.
Everybody did, I feel like.
Everybody got a turn with the Sedines. It's like,
Yeah,
to be fair, right? They're the Sedines. You never know what might click.
yeah.
But yeah, let's move to some
To
recent stuff.
let's move to today.
Yeah,
Leafs versus
today's
Canucks.
Leafs versus
Yeah.
Canucks, big
Big
game.
game.
Yeah. Jinx.
Huge.
It's game day, baby.
I'm not giving you Coke, but yeah.
Coca-Cola, too, confirmed.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah,
Yes.
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Big game for Canucks and Leafs. Little
As
bit
it
of a
always is
more
every year.
challenging game, I guess, for us. There's a lot of fan base beef, I guess you could also say. That's always been there with the Leafs. Um, but yeah, for Toronto, it's like a loss in Vancouver could mean a lot. It could come at the expense of their head coach.
See,
Um,
now I think since they won their last game, there's a little bit of a
Pushback.
breathing room for him.
Yeah.
They almost blew a lead, but like still, there's a little bit more of a breathing room since they beat Calgary. But
On the hot seat.
he definitely should be on the hot seat.
I'm hoping Vancouver just comes in and like absolutely like kills Toronto. Like
Edmonton vibes.
8-0. Like 8-0,
Uh,
10-0. Get them out of there.
I think
It's not gonna
if
happen
I
though.
was
But
if I was Toronto, I would look at getting rid of what's his name? Sheldon Keefe. They're not a really good team this year. They
they're
only
really
have
not.
they have
Yeah,
14 regulation wins. 14. We have 28.
yeah, that's
They're
crazy.
ninth last in the league in regulation wins. They I think it comes down to culture, like we were talking about the Mitch Marner comments. Their culture doesn't look to be too well, and sort of the structure of their team too. I think there's a lot of issues there. Obviously, they're the Leafs, so they get a lot of media coverage, but I don't know. I feel like it could be a pretty
Well,
good game for them.
It's a lot
the
of
only reason they're still hanging around is that stupid guy, man, Austin Matthews.
71 goal pace.
71 goal pace. Like you
That's
have to give him his credit. I don't like the guy personally because he's a Leaf, but you know, you got to give him his flowers.
yeah, no. I think the whole culture thing, it's like there's too much individualism on the team, too much like me. Um,
Everybody playing for money. Nobody's
oh,
playing for like
100%, right? And that's what kills this team, man. And it's like even like beforehand, like Dubas era, like you're just bringing in like free agents every year. Like I remember Toronto's like roster would like literally, except for like the core four, it'd be like
Yeah.
new every single year. Like you
Mhm.
can't just like
Yeah,
grab a
it's
bunch of
so
these.
much turnover
Corey
every year.
Perry, Jason Spezza, are just random guys coming in.
Exactly. Like you can't just grab like some random dudes, put them together, and then be like, "I right, go win a cup." Right? That doesn't
Yeah, you
always
have to have
happen.
some continuity in your team. Like,
100%.
you have to like give them a chance to build like the bottom six in Toronto. They're always in and out, in and out, in and out. You got to give them a chance to build some chemistry. Like it might take a year, it might take 2 years, but like it'll pay off.
And I
But
That's what
mean,
I think.
that's none of our business. They want to stay that way. They
I
can
don't
stay
care
that
what
way.
they do, but that's just my opinion.
I
Sorry.
mean, the Eastern Conference, they're in a wild card position now, so
Oh wow,
it's looking tough for them. And wild card race in the East is
it's
quite something.
close. Yeah.
But Toronto has 52 points,
Okay,
Detroit's
let's see.
51, Washington's 50, New Jersey's 49, Islanders are 49, Pittsburgh 48. Like, if the Leafs lose today and tomorrow in Seattle, that could mean a whole lot of changes there if the other teams start winning. They could be looking at themselves out of a playoff spot by tomorrow.
Do you guys see a mega trade
Hmm.
coming? Like a guy like Tavares or like a guy like Marner out before the
I've said
deadline?
for a long time now that Tavares should get traded.
Hmm.
He's
I
getting
think
old.
Marner, I
He's
think
getting
Marner,
old.
yeah,
He makes
both of
too
them.
much money. Like keeping Tavares makes no sense to me.
But I don't think they do it. I don't think they have the courage to make that trade.
Also, another side note, I was just looking on my phone, see the goalie matchup, right? I had no idea they had Martin Jones.
Yeah, he's in their
Oh,
like AHL system or something. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
had no idea.
Typical Toronto.
He's got the start today, so
it's almost game time. So we're finding out information as we go
Hmm.
about who's coming, who's playing,
I
who's
still
what.
haven't seen anything about the lineup for the Canucks. I don't know
Yeah.
who's in, who's out.
I know Carlson's coming in for Kuzmenko. That's been the biggest one, but expect everything else to be the
Oh, is
same.
that like official? I haven't seen it.
It's not official, but
I expect that.
it's probably going to be the case.
I don't see them calling up
Like
Carlson
Friedman
for a
hasn't
home
said
game.
anything about the
Yeah,
lineups either yet, so
and I think
he
Demko
always
will get the
does.
start. It's a big
Yeah.
game, but yeah, man. Let's get you guys score predictions. Let's see. What do
Oh,
you
I
guys?
hate I don't do score predictions.
Well, too bad. I'm telling you to do one. I'm doing it.
I don't want to jinx it.
Do it.
I want to see Toronto lose. That's all I care about.
Okay, well, Grzevic, you want to do one?
Yeah, sure. Why not? What's the big deal? Um, I think it's gonna be one of the most entertaining games of the year, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
both teams play very fast paced.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're at home. We're the betting favorites this today, but like
We do not endorse
but we don't
gambling.
condone that. But I'm just saying for anybody who does, the Canucks are -125 on the money line. Um, anyways, I'll take a 5-3 win.
Oh, that's exactly what I was
I was gonna
thinking.
say 5-2.
Have to. Yeah,
5-2.
I'm
I think
saying
4-3 and then an empty netter 5-3.
I'm gonna
I
say
think
5-3, and Besser and Matthews both are on the score sheet tonight.
I think a Besser double and a Matthews double.
I was gonna say I see a hat trick coming from the Canucks end.
You think so?
I think so.
A Besser hat trick would be so nice right now, but
He deserves it.
Name
Hey,
the player. Name the player. It's like who do
give
you
it to
think?
Besser.
Besser?
I mean, he deserves it. Look at him. He's had 2 goals waved off recently because of JT.
mm,
JT's
Yeah.
talked about it too, how
I
he
mean, hey man, that one against
Coyotes was
Arizona
weak.
was
That was weak.
not. It was
those
not
are not goalie
interference.
interference, man. Horrible. Like, dude's not even interfering with the goalie, and on
He
top of
got
that,
He
he's
got
pushed
pushed
into the
in. Yeah,
goalie.
he got pushed in.
yeah, it's no,
And
it's
by the time the shot was actually taken, he wasn't even touching the goalie. And
exactly.
the goalie pushed off of him, right?
Yeah.
So it
Hmm.
was like, how is that interference on your guy? That makes no sense. Whatever.
Well, something that happened in Chell type thing, but
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, last little bit of news before we sign off here. It just happened a couple hours ago. Patrick Waugh. as the new head coach of the Islanders.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
The pretty big move. I saw Lou Lamoriello. He said that Patrick was the only guy he really looked at for a coaching position. And
Yeah, I saw that right now.
yeah, what do you guys think about that?
I mean, we've seen what coaching changes can do, right? Edmonton's a good example. Vancouver last year with Bruce was a good example. Vancouver this year with Talkett's a good example, right? Sometimes you just need that change of scenery, change the system. I'm not too sure or too familiar with Raw's system and what he does, nor am I too familiar with the Islanders, but I do know they like playing more of a defensive game. Um, but this has the potential to kind of push him over, right? We were talking about it before how Toronto's kind of hanging around towards the end of that race, right? And Islanders are another team that's chasing them right now. This could potentially be that the answer to that, and that kind of gets them into that playoff spot.
I don't know, man. Patrick, why he didn't really have that much success when he was with Colorado a while ago. So
In all fairness, they sucked when he was there. So,
he
in all
still have the
fairness,
talent, but I don't know. I feel we'll see how it goes, but I don't really expect big
I don't
changes.
I don't really think he seems more not a system guy, but a player guy,
Yeah.
right? He probably I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I mean,
I hope
for a guy like Bo, that's his fifth head coach in 3 years, which is just
He's
crazy.
probably sick of it.
I hope just because you mentioned Bo, I'd hope they don't make the playoffs now.
Yeah. We loved Bo, but those comments we didn't like. So
Yeah.
I cheered for
I didn't
him
really
when
care
they
too much for it.
He's my
I
second
cheered
It
best
was it was in one year out the other. I didn't really care too much. So
I cheered
whatever.
for him when they had the video tribute, but after other than that, it was more booing. So
Mm. Man, he
I
was
think
my
that's
favorite player at one point. I was thinking of
I was
getting
about to
him
get
some
his
more of a
jersey.
jersey. Yeah,
Yeah.
same. And I was like,
I was never thinking of getting his
those
jersey.
comments really didn't sit well.
I'm
But
not I don't really like I don't know. Jerseys for me are like I get them, but every time I get somebody, they end up leaving within like 2 or 3 years.
I mean, you've
okay,
had your Quinn jersey for 2 or 3 years.
I've got I like probably the first player that hasn't left in that time frame.
The
stop
Gerst curse.
stop buying Cowboys jerseys.
I got a
I mean,
CD Lamb jersey.
hey,
I really hope he
hey,
doesn't leave.
Gerst, maybe you should get a Kuzmenko jersey.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do
Yes.
that.
I'll help you get it.
Maybe when they're on clearance.
And
Funny
talking about
enough,
Kuzmenko, sorry, talking about Kuzmenko, just the information just saw right now.
mhm.
Uh, Canucks aren't changing their lineup. Demko gets
Okay,
to
so he's
start,
in.
Ooh,
and
okay.
Kuzmenko's still in the lineup. Tocchet says he just has a feeling about Kuzmenko in the lineup and wants to see him focus on shooting and playing a direct game.
Hmm.
All
So
So
right, so he's
maybe
not
this
too
is the
worried about his
last
defensive
maybe this is
game.
the last little
This
it's the
is
showcase.
definitely his
It's the
yeah.
last
show.
chance.
It's the showcase.
It's
Showcase him
definitely
on
his last
Hockey Night on
chance.
Canada, Hockey Day in Canada
All
against the
right,
Leafs.
quickly right here. Let's predict his stat line. Shots on goal, everything.
Okay. Who wants to start?
I'll go
Zero
first.
zero zero one shot.
Okay, I'll go 14 minutes of ice time. Five
Damn, you're
shots on net.
generous. Holy. Okay.
5 shots on net, 1 goal.
Okay. I'm gonna go 12 minutes on the ice, 4 shots on net, 0 goals.
It's gonna go 12 minutes to one shot. Nothing really much. Watch him get a hat trick now.
Hey, I'll take it.
Uh,
I'll take it. I don't
against
care.
the Leafs, it's a good showcase game.
Yeah.
Get his trade value up and then get him out of here.
Yeah. What I was gonna talk about before you mentioned this was yesterday I was at Pastimes and I was just grabbing some basketball jerseys for a friend.
Oh, yo,
And
he's gonna be at Pastimes tomorrow. Kuzmenko
mm,
is in Langley. Forgot
Not
about
if he
that.
gets traded.
I
I
saw
don't think
his
he's gonna get traded in the next 24 hours.
You
behind the
never know.
counter, there was a custom order and somebody got a Kuzmenko jersey and I was like, damn man, I feel bad for whoever did that.
Probably for the signing tomorrow, man.
Maybe. Do you guys know which location he's coming down
In
to?
Langley, I'm pretty
Langley,
sure.
yeah.
Oh, okay, that's too far for me to care.
I'm not big on the buying tickets and stuff. like
Oh yeah.
like I think you should just line up if you get a chance to meet him. You do. If you don't, you don't. Like whatever.
Plot twist, you go to get your jersey signed and he just starts throwing a bunch of donuts. But
Draws the stat line.
yeah,
Oh
Um,
yeah, just donuts. All right, I get it. All
he's a
right.
nice guy. He's a nice guy. We
he's
got
a
stuff.
nice guy, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, anything else you guys want to talk about? I know the game's almost
Cody
about to start.
Hodgson.
Oh, Cody Hodgson, yes, that's very very cool topic. You want to talk about a little bit about that, Gers?
Yeah, like he's coming back. He's trying to make an attempt to come back. He's signing with the Preds AHL
HL,
team,
yeah, Milwaukee
Milwaukee
Admirals.
Admirals. Yeah, okay. And yeah, he's 34 years old. You know, his career stopped in a really bad way, obviously.
My injuries, yeah.
So I really hope he gets his chance. Obviously, his window right now is gonna be a little smaller, but yeah, I think he will. I think he'll do well. I think he'll do well in the AHL. I don't know if he'll get another NHL chance, but I think he'll be doing well in the AHL.
I think it's gonna be not to hit on the guy. I think it's gonna be tough to come back after so many years and try to make a comeback. I think might be a little tough in the starting, but hey, he was a skilled guy when he always had
Mhm.
that potential. So you
Yeah.
never know. You always wish the best to him and see how it goes.
I still remember when he got traded for Zach Cassian. I
Oh
was
yeah.
Oh
absolutely
man, what a day!
fuming. I was like, what are we doing? Like, this was supposed to
What
be the
a
future,
day!
I
but
was I was in class. I was in when my teacher told me, he's like, "Yeah, Cody Hodgson just got traded." I was like, "What?"
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
Zach
I was in
Cassian, I
class
had
too.
no clue who Zach Cassian was. I was like, "Who is this?"
yeah. But yeah, wish the best of luck to that guy. He was fun to watch while he was here in Vancouver.
His game eight slap shot. We'll always remember that
100%.
against Boston.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. I think with that said, I think we're good for today, right?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
So thank you everybody
1 hour till game time. Everybody go get ready.
thanks for
Yeah.
interrupting me again, Gers.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll do it again.
By the
I'll do
way,
it again.
just want to say shout out Cowboys for losing.
All
Go
Yeah.
right, thank you.
Packers, go
All
green,
right, good night, guys.
Okay, thank you everybody for tuning
go
into our
Packers.
third episode of Nucks and Pucks. Make sure you follow us on our socials, Nucks and Pucks underscore on TikTok and Instagram, and then Nucks and Pucks on Twitter and YouTube.
Fill the comment section with L's for Gers.
Nels for
L.
Gers. Cowboy Sucks also works. And drop below the predictions today for the Leafs and Canucks game. And if you predict the score before the game starts and you predict it correctly, give you a shout out.
Yep.
Yep. With that said, see you guys next time.
All
Peace.
right.